Welcome back to The Mind, a podcast series by the Ramakrishna Vedanta Centre, New Zealand. A conversation at the meeting point of modern science and the contemplative traditions of yoga and Vedanta. I'm Rama, your host. Last time, Swamiji, Sarah, James, and Kai watched the everyday I being built and found that what feels utterly solid actually loosens the moment you look at how it's assembled. Today, they open up the thing that does the assembling, the inner instrument. Because here's the surprise at the heart of this episode. The mind isn't one thing. It's a system with 4 distinct working parts, and most of our confusion comes from not knowing which part is doing what. By the end, you'll have a working diagram of your own mind, the way most of us carry a rough diagram of our own body. The inner instrument. Let's join them. The same room. Sarah has arrived first, looking thoughtful. There's a quiet readiness, the sense of a group that has done some homework.
Last time I asked each of you to catch the everyday I being built. Sarah, you had the hardest one, with your daughter.
I did try it. She had a wobble before a test, said, "I am so stupid." And instead of, "No, you're not," which never lands, I said, "Sounds like the feeling stupid has really shown up tonight. You're the one noticing it, though." She went quiet, then said, "Huh." That was it. But the temperature dropped.
That "huh" is the whole lesson, Sarah. A gap opened. James?
I watched teacher assemble before a lesson. The body at the front, the view from my eyes, the memory of who these kids are, the story, I'm in charge here. And you were right, it got lighter, though I'll be honest, half the time I forgot and just taught.
Forgetting is fine. The noticing, even occasionally, is what counts. Kai?
Weather and sky. The critic showed up. You embarrassed yourself. And I asked, who's the sky this is happening in? I didn't get a mystical answer, but the thought stopped feeling like a verdict and started feeling like a weather report. I could disagree with it.
Good. All 3 of you found the same gap from different doors. Now here's the natural next question. What is doing all this? The noticing, the reacting, the judging, the claiming. You keep saying, "My mind did this." But today I want to show you that the mind is not one thing at all. It's a workshop with several very different workers in it, and once you can tell them apart, a great deal becomes clear. Let me start with how we talk. Kai, finish these for me. My mind is...
Racing. Or my mind went blank. Or I can't make up my mind.
Listen to those 3. Racing, something moving too fast. Blank, something gone quiet. Can't make up, something that won't settle on a decision. Are those the same activity?
No, actually they're 3 different things. One's too much movement, one's no movement, one's about deciding.
Exactly. We use one word, mind, for a whole crowd of different operations, and they don't always agree. James, has this happened to you? You decide something and then immediately start doubting the very decision you just made.
Constantly. I'll decide how to handle a difficult student, feel sure, and a second later a voice says, "That's the wrong call."
So one part decided and another part doubted, at the same time, about the same thing. That's not a single mind. That's a system with parts that can pull against each other. The contemplative traditions saw this clearly thousands of years ago and gave it a name. The Ahaṁkāra, the inner instrument. Anta means inner, karana means instrument or tool, and they mapped it into 4 working parts.
4. Can you actually name them in plain terms? Because "the mind is a mess" is about as far as I usually get.
That's exactly the phrase this lesson is designed to replace, Sarah. Here are the 4. First, manas, the processing mind. the part that takes in what's arriving and goes, is it this or that, left or right, safe or dangerous? Think of it as a radar, always scanning, always restless. When people say, I can't switch off my thoughts, that's manas. Second, Buddhi, the part that decides and assigns meaning. Where manas wavers, Buddhi resolves. This is what it is. This is what it means. This is what to do. Third, Ahaṁkāra, the I maker. The part that takes whatever happened and stamps it mine. This is happening to me. It's the difference between it's raining and my picnic is ruined. And fourth, Chitta, the memory field. The ground where every experience leaves a trace and where patterns and tendencies are stored, sometimes for decades.
So manas processes, Buddhi decides, Ahaṁkāra makes it personal, Chitta remembers.
That's the whole map in one breath, Kai. Hold on to it. We'll spend the next 4 conversations going into each one. And they're not 4 organs in different parts of the brain. They're 4 jobs happening in one stream, like one river carrying fast surface currents and slow, deep ones at the same time.
This is tidy as a diagram, but does it actually show up in a real moment, or is it just a nice classification?
Fair challenge, James. Let's run a completely ordinary moment through it. You're reading in the evening. Your phone buzzes. It's a message from your head teacher. Can we have a word tomorrow? What happens in you?
Honestly, instant dread. What have I done?
Perfect. Let's slow that dread down to a crawl and watch the 4 workers. First, what made you look at the phone at all?
The buzz. My attention just snapped to it.
That's manas, the radar. It detected the signal, pulled your attention over, registered, this is from the head teacher, could matter. Pure first contact processing. Now, the message says only, can we have a word? 6 neutral words. Where did dread come from?
From me reading it as bad news.
That's Buddhi, the decider, assigning meaning. It took an ambiguous signal and resolved it. This is a threat. And notice, James, this is the hinge of the whole thing. If Buddhi had resolved it differently, she probably wants to praise that project. Your whole evening goes a different way. The same 6 words. Everything downstream depends on that interpretation.
Oh, that's important. So much of my worry is just my buddhi picking the dark reading.
Almost all worry is exactly that, Sarah, and we'll come back to it, because buddhi can be trained. Now, third worker. The dread isn't abstract. It's not, someone might get bad news. It's, I'm in trouble, my job, what did I do? Who added all the I and me?
Ahaṁkāra, the I maker. It made it personal.
Yes, and that's what turns a flicker of concern into a knot in the stomach. The self-tagging amplifies it. And then the fourth. You put the phone down, but the unease doesn't leave. It colours the whole evening. Tomorrow you'll walk into that conversation already braced.
That's the part that stays, the residue.
That's chitta, storing the impression. And here's the sting in the tail. If you've had a few worrying conversations with authority before, this one doesn't land on fresh ground. It drops into an existing groove and deepens it. So next time the phone buzzes, manas is jumpier, buddhi reaches for the dark reading faster, ahaṁkāra stings harder. The instrument isn't just processing the present, it's conditioning the future.
That's exactly how a worry habit feels from the inside, like the track is already laid.
It is already laid, by repetition. Which sounds like bad news, but it's actually the doorway to freedom, and here's why. The same loop that builds a groove can be seen. The moment you can watch manas jump, watch Buddhi reach for threat, watch Ahaṁkāra make it about you, and realize you are the one watching, the loop loosens. Not instantly, but it loosens. The mechanism that builds the cage is the same one that opens it.
Okay, but I want to push on something. You keep saying Manas does this, Buddhi does that. It sounds like there's a little committee running me. So which one is me?
The most important question in the whole course, Kai, and the answer is none of them. The inner instrument is closer to you than your own breath. It shapes everything you experience. But it is not you, not in the deepest sense. Remember the sky and the weather from last time? Manas, Buddhi, Ahaṁkāra, Chitta, all four are weather. You are the awareness they're happening in. Two images the tradition uses. A telescope reveals distant stars, but the telescope isn't the eye looking through it. A violin makes music, but the violin isn't the musician. The inner instrument processes your experience. It is not the awareness that lights up the experience.
And you said last time this isn't just philosophy, it changes how you handle suffering.
Directly. Watch the grammar. If you are your anxiety, I am anxious, then it defines you and there's nowhere to stand. But if anxiety is a state of the instrument, and you're the awareness noticing it, a space opens. The anxiety is still real, it's just no longer the whole of you. That tiny grammatical shift from I am anxious to anxiety is here, in the instrument, and I notice it, is the hinge of both ancient meditation and modern therapy.
I have to say, for the science-minded among us, there's something here. Neuroscience does carve the mind into pieces too. Attention, working memory, executive control, self-referential processing, memory systems. It's not one blob.
It's a real convergence, Kai, and worth being precise about. Modern cognitive science maps the mind into functions that line up loosely with these four. Attentional coordination is close to manas, executive evaluation and decision-making to Buddhi, self-referential and ownership processing to Ahaṁkāra, memory architecture and learned patterns to Chitta. The structural picture is strikingly similar. There's even a strand, the neuroscientist Carl Pribram, exploring memory as a field, distributed throughout the brain like a hologram rather than filed in one drawer, which echoes the old idea of Chitta as a field. But the model keeps one distinction the brain science usually doesn't draw: the difference between the processing and the awareness that illumines it. A machine could run all four operations, and we'll come to whether that makes it conscious, without anyone being home.
Can I ask the obvious worried parent question? If the mind isn't me and I should distance from it, doesn't that risk making people cold, detached from their own lives?
A wise worry, Sarah, and the tradition guards against it carefully. The point isn't to split into a pure self up here and a nasty mind down there and stand aloof. Listen to how Vivekananda put it. He said body, mind, and self are not three things stacked up. They're one reality, seen at different levels of clarity. Seen through the senses, you call it the body. Seen through thought, you call it the mind. Seen as it truly is, it's the self. His image: you glimpse a figure in the mist and think it's a stranger. The mist clears, and it's your friend. There were never two people. The stranger was the friend, dimly seen.
So the mind isn't an enemy to escape. It's the self, seen a bit foggily.
Beautifully put. The waves are not other than the ocean, they are the ocean, moving. So we hold two truths together, lightly. For practical work, for not drowning in every passing feeling, the distinction, I am not my anxiety, is indispensable. But underneath, the instrument isn't a second thing to be hated or destroyed. It's to be seen clearly, and through it, you recognize what was always shining through. Now, let me give you the oldest picture of the whole system working together, because it's also a picture of what goes right. The Kathopanishad, 2,500 years ago. Picture a chariot. The chariot itself is the body. The horses are the senses, pulling toward everything they crave. The reins are manas, the processing mind. The charioteer holding the reins is Buddhi, the deciding intelligence, and the rider, the master in the seat, for whom the whole journey exists, that's the self.
So who's actually meant to be in charge of the horses?
The charioteer, Buddhi, through the reins, manas. When the charioteer is alert and the reins are firm, the horses stay on the road and the rider reaches home. When the charioteer is daydreaming and the reins go slack, the horses bolt, dragged toward whatever they see, and the journey ends in a ditch. And notice the key link, James, since you asked. Even a clear charioteer can't steer if the reins are slack. A wise Buddhi can't govern scattered senses if manas isn't held. Decision needs attention to reach the body.
So a brilliant judgment with no attention behind it is a charioteer shouting at horses with the reins dropped.
That's exactly it, Kai. Which tells you why just decide to be different so often fails. The reins were never picked up. Hold that chariot image. It'll run quietly under everything we do in Module 2. This week, one experiment, and it's a diagnostic one. When something inside gets difficult, instead of saying, "My mind is a mess," pause and ask, which worker is this? Is this manas, scattered, can't settle attention? Buddhi, a meaning being assigned, this means I've failed. Ahaṁkāra, everything's suddenly about me. Or Chitta, an old pattern firing again. Just name it. Naming the worker is most of the work. Sarah, try it on a worry about your children. When the knot comes, ask, is my manas just spinning, or has my buddhi decided something dark? Or is my ahaṁkāra making their struggle entirely about my adequacy as a mother? You'll often find it's a meaning your buddhi assigned in a half-second. Name it, and you can question it.
Which worker is this? I can actually use that on myself and with the kids.
James, in the classroom, when a lesson goes sideways and you feel the heat rise, name the worker. Usually it's ahaṁkāra. I'm failing, they're judging me. See if naming it lets you step back to buddhi. What does this group actually need right now?
Move from the stung I back to the clear decider. Yes.
And Kai, you'll like this one. Next time your attention is shot and you can't focus, don't moralize about it. Just diagnose. This is manas, untrained, off the leash. Then, gently, pick up the reins. One breath, one object, brought back. You're not fixing your whole self. You're just steadying one worker.
Diagnose, don't moralize. That I can do without rolling my eyes.
Then you've got it. Tell me next time which worker showed up most, because the one that shows up most is the one we'll have the most to say to. Next time we go straight to the loudest of the four, the eye maker itself.
And that's the map of the inner instrument. Not one thing, but 4 workers, manas, buddhi, ahaṁkāra, and chitta, shaping every moment together, with the self as the rider in the chariot. The aim is never to fight the mind, but to know which worker is doing what. Next time we meet the loudest of the 4, the eye maker, ahaṁkāra, and to go deeper, the The full Lesson 2.2 is available in the course Beginners, Conversations on the Mind in the Light of Modern and Spiritual Sciences on the Ramakrishna Vedanta Center's website, www.vedanta.nz. It is also available as an app on Google Play and the Apple App Store by searching for Vedanta NZ. Until then, be gentle with your mind.